This is a nice half pan, 12 half pan watercolor set that I got from Schmincke when I was traveling over in Germany, and I had actually my own set with me, but I found that just carrying around my bag, the actual palette was too big. It was nearly maybe 3 times the size of this pan, this set here, and so I went around to look for something that was just a bit easier to paint with. So here's a bunch of swatch tests, as you can see to the left, and you get a really nice range of colors in this set. So for me, all I need are just a yellow, blue, red, maybe a earthen color, and in this one you've got both really. You've got two, at least two of each primary color in here. The quinacridone gold as well was a nice touch. I like to use that for sunsets or just other kind of really warm golden style scenes, as the pure yellow or even Hansa yellow I find to be just a bit too vibrant for my liking these days. Couple of earthen colors, raw umber, transparent sienna, and I do like that they've provided a couple of darker colors, so neutral tint and Mars black. And Mars black, as you can see, is actually a granulating black, and you can mix that with any of these other colors to create a bit of a granulation effect. Of course, it's going to darken down those colors. I probably wouldn't mix it with the yellow, for instance, but any of the blues, the earthen colors, even the red you could get away with as well. But you've got a neutral tint there, which looks a lot more transparent as well. If you want to increase the value, but not add that granulation effect. And Schmincke has been probably one of my favorite watercolor brands out there. And one thing I find is that their pans just last so long. I've still got a set from I think 2016, which is nearly 10 years of full pans, and some of the pans are still, I'd say about maybe half of the pans are still there. I mean, I've used up most of the color in it, but I remember watching a video on the Schmincke website a while back where they would use this special pouring technique to make sure that the paints are concentrated. So they would pour a highly concentrated mix of the paint and then allow it to completely dry and level out, and then they'll add another layer, so it just stops air bubbles from forming. And so you really get a lot of paint for these tiny little pans. I wouldn't know really what the equivalent of that would be in terms of a tube, but I wouldn't be surprised that could be even half a tube or more, just based on the technique that they use, because these pans always just never seem to run out. But I go through the tubes a lot. But the tubes also I find are easier to waste. So if you squeeze out too much paint, you end up just washing it away. Whereas with the pans, you only mix up as much as necessary, which actually makes it go a lot longer. So now, one thing I like about these pans as well is that they are quite sturdy. They hold in place nicely. Okay, I've got another set here from a company called Rembrandt, and one thing I find that's a bit annoying is that the pans, as you can see, they move around in there. There's a little locking mechanism there that stops it from falling out anyway on the side, but still just having them move around for some reason, it just bugs me. There is no locking mechanism on the Schmincke set, but you're not really going to need that. Just when you install the pans, push down on these little tabs, and that will keep them nicely in place. Oh, this one is moving around actually a little bit, but look, if it moves to the side like that, as you can see, there's nowhere for it to go, as it's still clasping onto that little tab there. So just make sure you push down hard as you install it, and that will ensure that it doesn't move around all that much. You can also take out these pans and use the base in there as a palette. You've got 3 mixing wells at the top. You've got 6 mixing wells down at the bottom. I tend to use the ones at the top. The bottom ones are fine if you're mixing up like a little bit of color, maybe you're painting like a face or something like that, a little face. But otherwise, I just find them to be a bit annoying when I'm using them, and yeah, it just doesn't mix up enough paint. But if you're painting small, I think that would make much more sense. The brush on here is surprisingly impressive, and in a lot of these sets, they often include some rubbishy brush that doesn't do anything. And this is looks like it's the Da Vinci Casaneo, and Da Vinci is a pretty well-known brush brand. This is the only one that I own, but it's got a decent weight to it, surprisingly. And I don't know, it's like the center of that brush, there's some weight inside, so when you're actually holding it, it feels fairly solid. In fact, it's almost pretty much the same weight as one of these metal ones that I have here, the metal ends handles. So yeah, the size of the brush as well is pretty good. You know, if I compare it to even the smallest brush here, which is a number 4 metal handled brush, it's got a larger tip. Oops, let's get this to focus. Got a larger tip. So of course, yeah, this is number 6, so I should probably match it with another number 6 here if I have one. I'm not sure what one this is, but it looks to be also similar sized head there. And I do like that there's a bit more room in the center of the palette. And if I compare these two palettes here, you know, the Rembrandt and the Schmincke, you know, Schmincke has just a bit more room in the center, so I can store large brushes in the middle. And look, I can't store that one, that's a bit too big, that's maybe a size 8 brush. But this is just the little things that I like about Schmincke. They really think about just the design, their designs, and they make them as practical as possible, maximize the use of every ounce of, you know, space in there. And you know, both of these palettes are pretty much the same size, but the design itself allows me to use that as a storage. So I can even put this pencil here. So this is my Kaweco brass pencil, pretty big pencil, and I can store that in there as well. So yeah, of course I won't be able to fit my other brush in there now, but yeah, I think this is a great little set if you're someone who's looking for something small to take along with you, chuck in your bag, because you know, having a larger set is just going to be annoying, and you're probably not going to bring it along with you. It's really helps you to be more consistent in painting if you've just got something in your bag when you need it. Often the best set that you can have is the one that's with you, and this is something you're going to be very likely to bring along. The only thing you need to consider as well is that there is no kind of water container, so you need to bring your own water container. I just normally bring a little water bottle, and that's enough. But yeah, Schmincke have another set actually that has an inbuilt water container, and yeah, but I think this is probably the best value set that they have, little travel set anyway.